And I'm Phil.
And Phil, as usual, is late.
I was kind of here, but I dropped my papers.
But we're here now, we're okay.
Yes, and it says sound and video A-OK.
Brilliant, so always good to
There
know
we
the sound's okay.
That's
You know what we're like. But anyway, lovely for you to all join us this evening. I
Indeed.
hope it's drier where you are than it has been here in Wales. It
Yes.
has been torrential rain.
It's been wet.
I swear we've got dolphins in the garden, splashing around. There's enough water.
Having said that, on the subject of the weather, we do commiserate with anyone who is living more in the path of the storm that has passed us by.
A nasty one.
We've had this rotten rain, but we appreciate that here in the valleys, we've been fairly protected from the brunt of the weather that I understand has hit Ireland, parts of Ireland, north of Wales, going up through the north of England, and very bad on the Scottish eastern coast, Aberdeen and that sort of area. Sadly, there's been loss of life and there's been a lot of loss of property, so our sympathies to everyone who's getting hit by that, because
Fortunately, we live on the side of a mountain, and so if there's any rain, it runs straight past us, so we're okay. I wouldn't want to live in the bottom of the valley.
No, that's
That's
where
where all the rivers
run.
gather, and that's where all the floods happen. Other than, we have had occasions in areas of Wales where a culvert has gone,
Yes.
and the water's just come gushing through houses, in the front door, out the back door.
Yeah.
So we haven't had that issue. We're okay.
And in other parts of the country, because in Boscastle they had that
Oh,
bad,
yeah,
didn't
they
they?
did,
It took out whole sections of the towns that came down. So, as I say, the weather has been a bit stinky for some, and we really do hope that everyone is safe.
Yes.
Okay, no.
So, right then, let's have a look anyway at our first three people in tonight. And first one in was Jen W. So, Jen W is the one who helped me to breathe a sigh of relief today. It's always lovely when I find I've done everything right, because I've always worried when I first started doing this, I'd start up and about 10 minutes later I think, nobody's coming in, there's something wrong, and there was. So, thank you, Jen. First in. Second place was Lexi V. And in third place, Bonnie Tyler fan. Closely pipped to the post was Ed Creative. So almost well done, Ed.
Yes.
And lots of things going, lots of hearts going up. Thank you for all the hearts. It's lovely. And let's have a look. I'm trying to get to the bottom. Oh, everybody's chatting now.
Yeah.
Right.
Roads are flooding on the east coast, Lexi's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did hit the east side. They were saying that due to the warmer temperatures that we're having through the summer, there's a lot more moisture up in the air. So one of the phenomenons now, even if these are storms that are not directly associated to the sort of issues of climate change, but just storms we would have had, we're getting so much more rain. And they did think that this event, I haven't heard the report since, but they were predicting it could have been the highest rainfall event on record. And that's the worrying thing, because our drains can't cope with it, you know, and neither can the riverbanks, and of course a lot of the houses are built along them, so East Coast has had it. So glad you're safe, Lexi, because I did read on one of the comments you made that you were shut off in the village, that the roads around you were flooded. I think you were saying there was no real route out for a time because a lot of the roads are flooded. I'm pretty sure I saw a comment from you either last night or in the comments, so hope you're safe.
Yeah, Ed was saying landslides are bad too. I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not going mudlarking along the beach where there are high cliffs at the moment.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're walking along, you see the odd little slurry of mud coming down or something like that, and I really wouldn't want to be at the bottom of those cliffs at the moment. But some people are bonkers. They were showing that you get a landslide and then all the fossil hunters are climbing on the landslide, and the officials are saying, don't do that, it's ready to go again. But there's big money to be made, so off they go and risk their life and think, no, I'd rather not.
No. And Lexi's just mentioning all the talk of landslides. Today is the 57th anniversary of the terrible disaster at Aberfan. Something which is very much in the minds of everyone in Wales, even those who weren't born at the time.
Also, to mention the word Aberfan,
even children.
It's just we all know it. It was not it was, for those of you who don't know, there was a school and there was a coal tip on the mountain above the school. That slate came down and filled the school, and it was pretty awful.
Yeah, a lot of loss of life and tragedy beyond words. And Lexi's saying it is the anniversary today. And that was caused by the waters again, but that wasn't the rain coming down, that was because the coal tip was put on top of a spring, which caused all kinds of havoc. but the sadness and tragedy that it brought about, no one could have envisaged. And I'm sure our hearts go out to those, because there are still many, particularly over in our valley, who still live with the loss and the scars, brothers, sisters, and even parents. So our thoughts go to them.
Ed said, more moisture in the air, more chance of snow. I love getting snowed in, so I'm quite lucky. And now I know we don't have the extreme snow that Canada or some places in America and other places have. It's such a rare event that we get much snow over here. It is a real event. It's like, ooh, we snowed in. And I love the hushed sound. We go for a walk and there's no traffic around and everything's muffled. And it's just wonderful. I love the snow.
When they did the COVID lockdown, that was one of the things we used to say. This is like the snow factor.
Yes.
Because in the snow, strangers help people just because they need it. If your car is stuck, people you don't know will come and start to help to push your car. I found myself stuck in the snow on one occasion, and the deputy manager of the colliery was at the back pushing my car, and I didn't even realise he was there until I saw his face, because everybody is all there. But as Caroline says, the other side as well, because that happened in COVID, people were so helpful to each other. But the other thing you find is the quietness. Because of course there was no traffic, nobody was going out, and it was quite
sometimes
strange.
The airplanes can't go in the snow, and they couldn't go during COVID, so that was really eerie, because I didn't realise that I'd missed the aeroplane, or I would miss the aeroplane trails until they weren't there, and you think, wow, the sky is completely clear today. Anyway, we need to be getting on. We've been chatting for nearly 10 minutes.
I just noticed that Lexi was saying that the reason they were cut off was threefold. One, some of the roads were flooded. Two, some had trees falling on them.
Right.
But three, one I hadn't thought of, due to the power cuts, those with railway crossings, the barriers automatically dropped to close for safety.
It's a good idea, yeah.
So therefore, you couldn't cross those roads either.
Right,
so it was a triple whammy, and the combination meant there wasn't many places to go.
We don't get many level crossings around here.
We don't get many. Well, we're fortunate that our train line from Rumney to Cardiff is still open, because they shut virtually so many. Probably 3/4 of the trains in Wales went in the big cuts in the 60s. But ours stayed open, and that's been such a lifeline. And they've reopened the Ebervale to Newport line, but none of them run over level crossings. They're all purpose set. But of course, we notice when we travel, we've got Hastings and
it's quite a novelty to us.
around Nathan's area, in that part of Sussex and that, we see, down with the barriers. Yep.
Lee said we love snow too in the beginning. Then it lasts for months, piles and piles up. Yeah, I should imagine it gets a little bit wearing, but it never lasts very long here with us. So it is a novelty. It's like, no, it's going now. And it all turns to grey slush, and it's looking miserable, and you get wet, and it's the end of the peace and quiet. So that's not so much fun.
If we have a major snow event by Welsh standards, then you wouldn't expect to see much more than snow on top of the peaks of the mountains within a week. It's generally gone. Occasionally it goes longer, but generally the temperatures pick up and it's gone. So it's a bit more fun and excitement here. And
it is.
Down when we were living on the south coast of Britain, well, they just didn't see snow. You had to get up early if you wanted to see a frost.
Yes, they had snow. We were there for 3 years and we had 1 day of snow.
And there was about an inch of snow, and they would take sledges down
the
the
schools
park.
all closed and
they were just so excited.
Yeah.
Everybody was rushing to the park and getting sledges and trays and sliding down on this much snow. But
they had a good time.
Big deal in Bournemouth, because it just doesn't happen. That's for true.
Where was I looking now? Hello, Rita. Is it Rita? Yeah, hello, Rita. No, I can't see the comment I was going to comment on now. My chat jumped so quickly. Anyway, I think we should have a question.
Go on then. Now, you're going to like this question.
Oh, right. Whether you like it or not, you're going to like it.
No. I know they're going to like it, because it's regarding food. And
what are you trying to say?
Well, what I'm saying is that you don't have to even say the word food for food to end up coming up in comments on our chat. So I've now said the word food, so goodness knows what's going to appear in the next...
Well, let us know what your snacks are. We can all see what you're eating.
But I made a comment, because a bit of the off the top of the head comment, is this a kitchen in the amphitheatre And was it where they prepared the fast food for the folks that came? It was a bit tongue-in-cheek. Caroline said, well, did they have fast food? I said, I don't know. I'll have to do some research. And I've done my research, folks. And it may surprise you to know, on the other hand, maybe not, because them Romans, they didn't have to bring a lot of things to a lot of places. It does seem, according to the historians, the Romans did bring fast food joints to the British Isles.
Who'd have thought it?
They did. Or, as they would call them, thermopolia.
Thermopolia.
Which is something to do with hot. I don't know what polia is.
It's to do with the North Pole. Warming up the North Pole.
Is that what it is? So it's spelled Thermopolia. There we go. That was their name for McDonald's. As that's what they called them, and it was in the large town. The people would be looking for fast food. Now, this was a new phenomenon to Britain because we hadn't done anything fast up until then. Because everyone lived in small communities, hamlets, and everybody did their own cooking. You didn't go out and buy food to eat, sort of thing. But now you had major towns. You had, as I said, 5,500 troops in Caerleon and all the people to service them. So what happened was street vendors and small establishments opening up everywhere, selling things like chicken legs, lamb chops, and shellfish.
You got me there.
I got you there. People do like their mussels and their cockles.
They don't make a noise though, do they?
They don't.
I don't know, I've never heard one.
And it seems these fast food joints became quite commonplace. But my question is, what was the well-known, in these days, fast food they brought us, which was called by the Romans Izzekia Aumentata. Izzekia Aumentata, is that a Roman burger?
A burger.
Or B, a Roman pizza?
B, pizza.
Or C, a Roman hot dog?
C, hot dog. And go.
What do you think, folks? This is genuine history. The Romans introduced to our menu here in the UK when they came over Izzekia Aumentata. It's hard to say. I don't do English well, and now I'm doing Latin.
Oh, you're amazing.
Izzekia, or it may be something else because it's Issia. So I may be saying that wrong. Izzekia.
Izzekia Aumentata, something like that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't
Izzekia
believe I actually
Aumentata.
did 2 years of Latin in school.
Is that
That was
a
useless.
Roman version of a burger? That'd be A. A Roman version of a pizza? That'd be B. Or a Roman version of a hot dog? That would be
Right.
C.
Ooh, and the first three answers A, B, and C, so or A, C, and B. So it could be anything.
We've got quite a few answers in, and we've got a variety. Whatever the answer is, we're going to have 3 correct answers because we've got lots of responses,
Oh, hello, Javier.
and we've got lots of people going with. Quite a few have gone with your guess.
Oh,
dear.
hello, Jeannie's in as well.
Caroline took a guess, and I said to her, yeah, I put that one in because I knew it'd catch you out. And I would like to say that about half the people, now according to Jason, fish and chips. Question mark.
Was it on the list?
Ah.
Oh,
Right
that's only
there.
a technicality.
That's right.
You say fish and chips if you want to.
That's quite right. Okay. Well, I can assure you that we do have 3 correct answers. In fact, we've got more than 3 correct answers. We've probably got 6 correct answers, actually.
Ooh, 6.
But only 3 podium places. No use sharing one between 2. So the very first correct answer is the very first answer. Because it comes from Mr. Ed Creative, and he said A.
Well done, Ed.
It's a burger, folks. Now, Caroline went pizza, and I knew I'd catch a lot of people out. She said,
It
I'll
was
go
the
with
obvious
pizza
one.
because I think of Italy when I think of pizzas. That's why I put it in. But that particular food is a burger.
Yes.
Made with 500 grams of mincemeat and 50 grams of pine nuts. And
Phil did say pine cones. And you say, you
Yeah.
sure it's pine cones?
no, I get my nuts and my corns mixed up.
Yeah.
Which isn't as bad as last week when I had somebody in labour for 4 days.
4 years.
That's right. They were in labour for 4 days.
Don't trust anything you hear.
Yes,
Hear,
right.
hear.
But it was a burger, and they used to put fish sauce in it. But they did say if you want to make them today, you could use salt.
There we go.
So it seems they used fish sauce as a sort of salt substitute in their day. And a few other weird and wonderful things that we may not have in the larder. But there we go. They brought the beef burger to Britain. How's about that? So Ed was first, but then we got to go down a little way because we've got a lot. We got one hot dog and a lot of pizzas. Until we get to the next two correct answers, which is Lisa Roberts
Well done, Lisa.
and Jeannie Nash.
Well done, Jeannie.
So Ed, Lisa and Jeannie, you've got the gold, silver and bronze podiums on the first question in our quiz today. Now what are you doing,
Hold
dear?
tight, everyone.
Look out. Caroline's moving things. Oh, the goal. It's all moving.
Is that any better? I can't get this camera level today. I don't know what the
Ah,
problem
it'll do.
is. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't
It'll
it?
do.
Don't want you all sitting there like this trying to watch it.
So there we are. Who'd have thought it? I wonder if we did spark any talk of food. Let's have a look here. Oh, Javier is in saying hello to everyone and to ourselves. So hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, Ed said, I did 4 years of Welsh, 2 of French and a little German and can't remember the English words sometimes. I don't
Next
think
he goes, someone asked Siri.
Right then, so I think we need to be moving on because we're going really slow today. So I'm going to click the news button if I can find it. Some glasses. Right, who's going first?
Shall I go first?
You
Because
go
last
first.
week I
You
didn't get to do
oh,
any
I
happy
know. You
news.
felt, he'd been crying all week.
No,
Missed
so
his chance.
I've given Caroline my happy news from last week because I've got happy news, which is on a theme that is probably closer to my heart than yours. Vintage cars. Yes. It's the one thing I always said I'd love to do is own an old vintage car and put a dirty great big super soppy teddy in the back seat and take it for rides, and we'd go down the seaside and have fish and chips in a summer's day, wouldn't it?
Give me air conditioning, power assisted steering, servo brakes, inertia seatbelts.
Well, this is a
Step
story
old.
which you may have heard, particularly if you're in the UK, because it was on Radio 4 News while I was in the car.
Ooh.
It's a BBC story.
Wow.
Yes, man 94 finds father's beloved classic car. Mr. Stern bought a 3D printer before lockdown because he wanted to make a model of the bright yellow classic car his father owned and drove when he was growing up. When looking for reference pictures on the internet, he was amazed to find the actual car was being sold at auction. He said his father, Alex Stern, acquired the car in 1935, adding he drove the car to work every day and he took us on picnics when we were children. The yellow classic car was manufactured in 1930 and is nearly as old as Malcolm Stern himself. When Mr. Stern and his wife visited the auction, they said the car was a right wreck, but decided to buy it for £6,000 because it was so special. For sentimental reasons, I thought, I'll buy it. Then we brought the car home, and that was in September 2020, and I've been working on the car 3 years since, he said. The original engine was smashed up in a rally. I reckon the renovators did about 2,000 hours work, and I reckon I did about 1,000. Mr. Stern now hopes to spend another 6 months renovating the interior, saying the restoration project has been difficult and expensive. He said, I'm still very excited and very surprised that at 94 I'm able to be here to do this and still be fit enough to go out in the car for a ride. I think my father would have been very proud. He'd be very excited as well, he said. I thought that was a cracking story. If anybody was to achieve this, it would be incredible. But 94. You're not impressed, are you?
I'm trying. I'm really trying to be enthusiastic.
Caroline doesn't see this as happy news because it's got cars in it.
Buy me a new one. I'm sorry, I know I'm a terrible person. I do like the look on old cars, but I really wouldn't want to drive one. That's just me.
No, but for this gentleman.
Yes, it was lovely. I can see the sentimentality, but I think I don't get any ideas. Please.
And I just think it was brilliant that he was 91 at the time, just a youngster, and he decides, because he had a photograph of himself standing on the running board with his mum and dad going off for a picnic on the car, he thought, I'd love to have a model of the car to go next to it. So he thought, I'll get the pictures off the internet, whatever I can get, put them into my 3D printer and print it. And he ends up, goodness knows how much he spent. I bet he could have bought a house for the price of what he'd spent on it. But he's made the car. And I tell you what, for all those out there who, unlike Caroline, find this story interesting, I will get the link and put it up to the BBC story, because that way you can see a picture of the car. I know there are those out there, not including Caroline, will find that interesting. I'm going to do that now. You carry on. You talk. You talk to people.
Phil, when we first got married, we had a Ford Cortina Mark III, and years later, Phil thought, I wonder if I can trace it, and we checked, and with the DVLA, and it had been scrapped, so we couldn't get a hold of that. But I just want to say thank you to Kate and Oliver for your coffee donation. I can't find you on here to do a link to you, so I don't know if you're on the TV, but thank you ever so much, both. That's really kind of you, and we really do appreciate that, so thank you.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you,
right,
thank you.
Let's have a look. Oh, Ed said I can't afford a 3D printer, let alone a car. Oh, those 3D printers are expensive. I heard as well that you shouldn't use a 3D, because our son was looking at one of those, because he sells in the Comic-Cons and things, and it turns out his bedroom is just like his big office too, and you're not allowed to use them, or you can use them in your bedroom, but they could poison you because of the fumes. I'm like, ooh, that's a bit dodgy, so they recommend you have fans and goodness knows what going, but they were just too expensive anyway.
They're probably coming down in price now, I'd imagine.
Maybe. Right, while you were doing that...
I've put the link up.
Right, well...
Just for people who want to look after, you can see the car.
There we go. Right then, I'm now going to go on to... We've had some happy mail. Right, I had a parcel this week, and I'll show you what was in it. Can you remember last week? Do you want to wee? I know. You calm yourself, lad. He's keen. We had a conversation about pumpkin spice. And Phyllis said, I've ordered you some pumpkin spice things off your wish list. Well, not off my wish list, but from Amazon, Mr. A, as I like to call him. And she got me pumpkin spice latte instant coffees. I've never tried it before. So nice. I didn't know what to expect. And yes, they are nice.
Yeah, we've had them for breakfast for the last 3 mornings. There's only 2 left in that box, although it says 8.
I know.
We've drunk 6 of them.
They are very nice. We also got pumpkin spice. So I was going to put some on the coffee, but I find that spicy enough for me, so I'm going to make a pumpkin pie. And over in the UK, well, at the moment, the amount of pumpkins they got in the supermarket, so I know after October, I'll get there now, the 31st, they will be reducing them after Halloween, so when they do, I'm going to buy a pumpkin and make a pumpkin pie.
Because they've got quite nice ones at reasonable prices in our local Morrisons, haven't they?
They
have.
They're
quite large.
Huge ones about this size for £2, so that's good.
Yeah. And last year, I'm sure they ended up reducing them to 10p.
Which should be good. I'll buy a couple then. And I can smell this all the time we're doing the show. A pumpkin spice Yankee candle. Have a sniff of this. You smell it? Oh, it's lovely. I don't know. I've never found many candles that smell nicer than a Yankee candle. You can get, like, the Asda's do their own brands, but I don't think they put as much smelly in them. But this is lovely. I like to have my breakfast, have my spicy coffee with this candle burning away. Very nice. So thank you. Let's put that up a minute.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much for this. That was a lovely surprise and very tasty. So I'm enjoying that. And yes, I am a convert now to pumpkin spice. I will never be the same again when I see pumpkin spice coffee advertised.
Some 3D filaments need to be used with vent filters.
Oh, Karen says I flavour my yoghurt with pumpkin pie spice as well as apple pie spice. Oh, right, that's a good idea. Yes, and then we got to talk about the fumes. Some of the fumes might be worse with some filaments for the 3D printer.
Garen was saying, but not all. They're coming down in price. We've got several, and hubby makes the neatest things.
Oh, well, I'll have to have a look this Christmas. Don't tell Timbo I said that. And Anne said one year we made pumpkin soup and served it in a pumpkin shell. Oh, that's a lovely idea. Now, what do you put in a pumpkin soup, Anne? If I'm making a soup, I usually fry up loads of onions and garlic. Then I add some, stock cubes. And then I chuck in whatever vegetable I'm using, like pumpkin. I love pumpkin soup, or if I'm making a pepper soup, something like that. And I've forgotten. Second day now, I got some cheap peppers from Morrison's, and I keep meaning to put them in the oven.
Three bags
full, because that way then I can keep them for longer, and I keep forgetting. Anyway, sorry. So I put it in, boil it all up, and then I mush it up if it's lumpy, and then I don't mush my pumpkin soup up completely. I like to leave some big lumpy bits in. So that's what I would put in. What would you put in a pumpkin soup? Anybody?
Down in our...
And especially for Anne. It was Anne, wasn't it? You know what my brain's like.
Down in our supermarket, you see, they have a pizza counter. And because they have a pizza counter, they have prepped veg. So they have these bags of pepper about so big, they were so thick, crammed full of sliced peppers to go onto the pizzas. They also have bags about this big and about that thick, sliced mushrooms to go on top of the pizzas. But recently they seem to have got their order in altar pot. Or a lot of people have given up pizza for some reason.
I don't think so.
Because we are now in the fridge have 3 bags of peppers at 25p a bag.
Yeah.
And 2 sacks of sliced mushrooms at 50p. So for £1.75, we have got a fridge shelf full of sliced mushrooms
I'm going to make a huge saucepan. I got a really big saucepan. I'm going to fill that up with curry.
A big curry pan tomorrow.
And then put it all separately to freeze.
2 bags of mushrooms in and a bag of peppers. Make a curry, nice. And the other 2 bags will get roasted because Caroline likes roast peppers as a treat, doesn't it?
I do.
Eat them like sweets. So there we go. So there's a certain time of day. The only thing is there are the regulars and they're a bit possessive about what they get, but they don't seem to be. The good thing is, if the vegan food gets reduced, then the regulars don't take it.
No, so we get it then.
Yeah, I do pretty good. I've had them Beyond Burgers, 2 Beyond Burgers, the £3 odd, and I've had them as low as 20 pence for the 2, and get 4 or 5 at a time. Put them in the freezer because nobody wants them when they're on sale.
Karen flavours her yoghurt with pumpkin pie spice. Oh. I've read that one, haven't I? Oh. I get my days. You know what I'm like. I get my days when I can't remember anything. Today's one of those days.
Hello, Rufus.
Oh, hello, Rufus. I'm trying to find this. It keeps jumping up and down. Right, Beata. I found you, Beata. Puts onions, leeks, carrots, pumpkin, potatoes and stock in hers. And Glenda said last year she threw a French heirloom variety called Cinderella. The taste was phenomenal. Made fabulous pies. Ooh, right. Oh, that sounds interesting.
And Anne is saying, I love those Cinderella pumpkins. So that's somebody else. Because you love your potty marrons.
Oh, yeah. Potty marron are my favourite. But I've never tried a Cinderella one. No. But I do love a potty marron. Which is, they call them that. They got quite a chestnut flavour. And then they go quite sweet when you roast them. Oh, really, really nice. Is the Cinderella one, does that have a sort of nutty flavour or a sweet flavour? What's the flavour like?
Pumpkin with nutmeg. Yum from Mike. And Rita's saying, started to can and dry vegetables thrown out of the supermarkets, joined a group of food rescuers.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. Well, so we say that most of what that come to the last line and get sold off is either usable or freezable. And but with what we do with the mushrooms, last day I had 3 bags of mushrooms, and Carly thought, what am I going to do? So out with a big pan, we made the curry. We had it that day. I froze enough for 2 days, and we had it the day after. So, because you actually put it with rice that day and
noodles the
next, and turned it into a bit of a sort of noodle meal, and we ate it without chopsticks.
That's right.
Wasn't it?
Variety.
But amazing, because the base part of it, the bulk in there, because I'm much less a meat eater than most, then the bulk in there was the mushrooms, wasn't it? Which was great.
Ed says I buy reduced food and freeze, and Mike said pumpkin with nutmeg. And I've never tried that. I have heard about it. I'll have to try it one day. When these pumpkins come in, get ready with your pumpkin recipes, and if I get some, I'll be tapping you all up over on the Facebook page. We'll have a pumpkin recipe thread. Unless somebody wants to start one now, I don't give any much chance to come over there, but I will get a chance at some point. So if you put a pumpkin recipe thread over there, somebody start one, you can all add your recipes. Right then, we need another question. Oh, Beata says Hokkaido pumpkin I use, red looking. Ooh, that's interesting. Right then, let's have a question.
Den was a lovely man. He was
Okay.
a lovely man with a lovely shop. And Caroline spotted the pumpkins, and I said, tell you what, the gentleman that was laying them out, he seems quite approachable. Perhaps we could go and ask him if we could film. And when we were coming back out, he was still setting up, and we asked him, and he said, by all means. So we filmed, and then Caroline said, oh, perhaps we'll go in the shop. It looks lovely inside. And he was great.
Yeah.
He even came on camera to talk to you.
Turn the music off for us because we can't let the music run because otherwise we get copyright strikes
yeah.
on our video. Or...
He was so accommodating,
he made it so easy, didn't he?
And I was so surprised to realise he'd only been there since March this year, which is amazing to see how the shop is developing, how he's growing up. And as Caroline said in the film, no backhanders, nothing. We simply were thrilled because he became a star of the show. And quite a central piece of our trip to Caerleon. And we do intend to go back, probably in the spring, and see how they continue with the work at the back and see it, because we want to do, there's a lot more to Caerleon. We didn't get in some of the places that we would have gone, because for those observant people among you, you may have noticed that I filmed the entire thing this time all in black. And that's because my tie was in my pocket and I was going straight to work.
Yep.
I had to be at a crematorium by 12:30, so we were filming that morning when we were en route, because that happened to be 10 minutes away from where I worked that day. So it was brilliant to meet him. Really lovely man, fantastic shop. We loved the way he used the space. It was really impressive. He's obviously got an eye for design, and of course a great display of pumpkins outside, which, as I said, is what caught our eye. And of course he'd gone to the trouble of making a few of the pumpkins seem quite approachable and friendly with their little eyes and faces. So the question simply is, how many of his pumpkins did he decorate with faces on that display? Was it A, 2, B, 4, or C, 6?
Go.
How many do you think, folks? Try and remember now. The display was there. There must have been about a dozen or so pumpkins outside, but how many of them actually had faces on them? Was it A, 2, B, 4, or C, 6?
You forgot that, didn't you?
I had to look down to see it.
It's forgetting is catching, isn't it?
Yes, you caught it off
Stand
me.
further away from me.
I've been forgetting for 40 odd years. I've been forgetting all my life. And then I met you and I thought, I've married a memory. And then you started forgetting 2 years ago, and now we're in trouble. Oh, dear me. What are we going to do, eh?
Right, so do we have a winner?
I'm just looking now. I'm just looking. Ooh. Yes.
Not many then, I'll assume.
1, 2, 3. There's 4 or 5.
Oh, well.
There's 4 or 5 winners.
Well, it was 4 or 5.
Ah, well, the answer actually was, of all the pumpkins that were there, only 2 had faces on them. And they were the 2 big ones on the top shelf, and there's a gap in between them. So there were only 2. So the first correct answer is Christina Mitazaki.
Well done, Christina.
The second one is Ribble Finds and Crafts.
Well done, Ribble Finds and Crafts.
And I'm going to have to scroll down, because I thought that was an A and it's not, it's a 4. So here we go. Anne Goodwin gets the bronze.
Well done, Anne.
So that's it. There were 4. Christina, Ribble Finds, and Anne have it. And special mention to Rufus, because Anne was just pipped Rufus to the post. He was next to her.
Nearly, Rufus, nearly.
And Jeannie got the correct answer as well.
Well done, Jeannie.
And they were the only correct answers. 5. 5 that remembered. It was 2 on there. So there we go, folks. Well, can't all get it right, can we?
No, that's right. I very rarely do.
I know.
Right then, I'm going to read you my happy news now.
Have you done this? Have you done it all?
No, I haven't, because I'm watching the time and time's getting
Oh, we're now skipping jingles.
By the time you've finished, I might as well have played the jingle.
Happy, 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 happy news.
I shall now carry on, undeterred by this crazed maniac on my left.
It's her favourite subject, right? We had my favourite subject, cars. Caroline's favourite subject, Weatherspoons.
Shut up.
Phyllis, tell him I'm right.
Now then, good news for cancer charity. You going to sit there quiet now? No, be a good boy. This poor mother. How she coped, I don't know. It's good news for a charity helping young people as JD Weatherspoons reach the incredible £22 million milestone. The UK pub chain has been in partnership with the Young Lives vs Cancer for over 20 years. Since the partnership began in 2002, JD Weatherspoon employees and customers have organised and taken part in various fundraising events and challenges. Every year the company hosts a UK-wide football tournament, Kick, bringing staff from pubs across the nation together to raise money for the charity. I hope they tell us what Kick stands for. Staff have also taken part in challenges such as the London to Paris cycle and various hikes, skydives, not for me, and marathons across the UK, and customers have also fundraised through various events like bake sales, raffles, quizzes to continue adding to the ever-growing funding total. Young Lives vs Cancer help young people and their families from the moment of diagnosis to face everything cancer throws at them. The £22 million raised by JD Weatherspoons is enough to cover the cost of over 500 full-time Young Lives vs Cancer social workers, or over 110,000 grants for families struggling with the costs of cancer. Young Lives vs Cancer Associate Director Anne-Marie Jubber said, "Thank you so much to every employee and customer who has helped to raise this amazing amount of money to help young people with cancer." That's a lot of money and a lot of help. It's a big need. It's definitely such a huge need. But they are certainly making a dent in that need, aren't they? With, what was it, £22 million? It's not bad. And over 20 years.
Yeah, and when you think it's the beautiful thing about it is this isn't JD Weatherspoons donating £200,000 a year and £300,000 there out of their profits in order to reduce the tax bill. This is actually across the board. The staff, they have quiz nights in some of the pubs. We see things advertised, and they'll put up a notice: support John, one of our waiters. He's doing a 10-mile hike for the charity. So there's always something happening, from knit and natters and all sorts, and it's little things. Everybody's involved, but the beauty of the story, all those little things over 20 years, 22 million.
Yeah, adds up, doesn't it?
22 million.
Now, wouldn't that be fun if you think if we all lived closer, we could go to one of these quiz nights somewhere and we could have the Let's Go team, and we could have a huge team with all of us on it, and between us all, we'd be really good at things like food, vintage cars,
general knowledge with all these quiz questions we do have, man.
Yes, we got lots of different, and we got lots of different, what do you call them? I'm going to say métier. I'm thinking the French, but I can't think of the English.
I don't know what métier is. Somebody will.
Somebody help me, métier.
Subjects.
You know subjects. They do for work.
Categories.
I told you my brain's completely fried tonight. But yeah, so we got so many people in different jobs, and we got photographers, and we got, what is it, Jason? You do, is it aeronautics, aerospace something? It's really technical. So we've got lots of different
that particular
subjects that we could cover.
That particular piece of happy news is close to our hearts for more than one reason. It's not just because we are regular attenders at Weatherspoons, because they do a rather nice curry and it's reduced every Thursday, and the coffees are refillable and they only cost just over £1. But also we know personally the difference it can make if someone is able to just come alongside when you get bad news and be practical help. Because when we were in hospital with one of our children when they were very young, we arrived in London, we just had to rush there to this hospital. We had nothing, we hadn't had a minute to think really. We just, Caroline jumped the car, I was in the ambulance, we raced all the way to London from Wales. And when we got there, this gentleman came on the ward and he said, "Is there anything you need?" And we said, "Well, I don't know, we didn't know where we were." And he just turned around and he said, "Look, I'll just go and have a word with someone, and he come back, he said, I've just got you a small grant, so you can go and get yourself some food and things like that. And this was a total stranger, but they had a little charity running, and they realised we were a long way from home, and we'd come unprepared, and we didn't have any sandwiches, we didn't have nothing. We just stood there, and he gave us money for food, which, it was only a small gift, but at that moment, it wasn't just the food we could buy, it wasn't just the amount of money, it was actually that in that moment...
If somebody cared, you felt like somebody was giving you a big cuddle.
Yeah,
you're really down and on your upper sort of thing, and somebody comes along and...
A total stranger who was there and made you feel that, as Caroline said, someone cares, and that is invaluable. So that's why I love the work they do there, where, like they say, you know, they give grants and they have these social workers that come alongside people. It's fantastic work.
Ah, there we go. It is aerospace adjacent, is it?
There we go.
So, something I have no idea about anything of aerospace. One thing I'd like to learn one day is quantum physics. And I haven't got a clue what it entails or anything. It just sounds really interesting in the sense that very few people understand it. So one day I might try studying that. Not that I'd understand it, but I'd feel better saying I've studied it. Now, Rufus' mother was in Velindre. That's in Cardiff, our cancer hospital's called Velindre, and he's saying they're amazing, and they are. I've heard lots of really good reports about Velindre.
Yeah.
Oh, and D. Dorothy Papinio's in. Hello, sorry, I meant to say hello to you, and then chat's gone on. So better late than never.
Want another question?
Let's have another question.
We'll be halfway through then. We're 3/4 of the way through the show. We're halfway through the questions.
I know. I don't know if we're going to get them all in today.
The amphitheatre is an incredible and atmospheric ruin, which I felt was surprisingly intact, considering that it's been there nearly 2,000 years. The question is, what size crowd was that amphitheatre designed for? Was it A, 2,000?
Oh, I'm going to interrupt you. Thank you. Christina Mitazaki has given us a 30 Swedish crown super chat. Thank you ever so much. We got a lemon blowing us kisses.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thank you, Christina. That's really kind of you.
Thank
we really
you.
do appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Even if you did interrupt me.
Well done.
Right, so what was the crowd capacity that it was designed for? The amphitheatre, was it A, 2,000, B, 4,000, C, 6,000?
Go! And let's see the answers rolling in.
What are we going to do? Are we going to go A, B, C?
Here they come, here they come.
What do you think, folks?
Ooh, interesting. No A's so far. Lots of B's, lots of C's. I would say C is probably winning. No A's. Is anybody going to be crazy, daring, forward thinking enough to say A? Was A right? Is it because everybody knows it was wrong? There's not one A in that list. If the answer's A, we don't have a winner.
There is now. Somebody heard it. And now, and if it's,
I can see it.
And if it's not right, they're going to be led astray by Caroline. There we go.
Oh, so we got one A.
I can
go
tell
on,
you.
First, let's put 3 A's.
I can tell you it wasn't A. And it wasn't B. It was C. Capacity crowd was 6,000. That was what they designed it for, which is a lot of people. And especially when you think, as you could see, it's down in the ground. Brilliant, mind. That's why it stayed standing as long as it is. They dug out a huge hole in the ground, laid it flat on the base, and then into the bankings they built the structures, the steps, and all the seating and everything else. It all went up, but they weren't building above ground. They were building from beneath the ground, which I think was ingenious. What the drainage system was, I'm not sure, but they probably had it drain into the river because that wasn't far away. And so therefore the capacity was 6,000. So we're looking for C's. And the first C is Dan Fetters.
Well done, Dan.
The second C is Ed Creative.
Well done, Ed.
And the third C goes to Rachel Bailey.
Well done, Rachel.
So it's Dan, Ed and Rachel take the podium places, and then there's a lot of C's as well going down the page. I would say C was the most popular answer.
Well, let's see if C is the most popular answer in the next question, because we need to move on. Let's go straight into another question.
Oh.
night. Bye, Oliver, if you're still awake.
Bye. Okay. You can catch me out now, see? Questions on
I
top
know.
of questions
Keep you on your
top
toes.
of questions. Something that's becoming far more common a sight when we make our videos around the country are defibrillators. We do see them. There's one just quarter of a mile from here on the front of a building. And in this video, in Caerleon, there was one in an old telephone box.
It was.
And Caroline pointed it out. And it's a very good thing that they are there. Because I have learned from my research that if someone suffers what they call an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, so if you have a cardiac arrest anywhere other than in hospital, your survival rate is less than 10%.
Ooh.
It's not good.
It's not, is it? I'll try not to have one if I'm out of hospital.
So my question is, what do you think that percentage survival rate rises to if you have quick use of one of these defibrillators? Do you think it rises from 10% to A, 40%? Or to B, 60%? Or to C, 80%?
Go.
So if you have an out-of-hospital heart attack and no one has access to a defibrillator, your chances of survival are as low as 10%. But that rises if a defibrillator is nearby. You can have the use of a defibrillator within 2 minutes, then it rises considerably. Do you think it goes up from 10 to 40? That's A. From 10 to 60? That's B. Or 10 to 80? That's C.
Well, I think all the answers are in, so do we have a winner?
Oh, she's rushing me tonight.
I am.
I tell you, she's determined to finish on time.
12 minutes.
Oh, bucket loads. Right then, let's have a look. Do we have a winner? It's a very good question. We do have a winner. We definitely have a winner. In fact, we have 3 correct answers at least.
Right.
Which is good news. Because I know it will surprise quite a few of you, because the minority answer is the correct one. Because the correct answer is it rises to 80%.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're within a minute or two of a defibrillator, when you have a cardiac arrest, your chances go from 10% to 80%.
And I don't think we could get a defibrillator to us within 2 minutes anyway.
No,
they need to introduce more eventually, but it is a good start, isn't it?
Yeah,
they get to us within a few minutes.
If they can get it to you between 3 and 5 minutes
No, that's more realistic.
of your collapse, your survival rate is still between 50 and 70%.
Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it?
So it's still higher than A, even if you are 3 to 5 minutes away. So that's incredible. If you collapse in a town, chances are they've got one nearby.
Yeah,
there's one
they're
most
in
major
just about every
towns.
town now.
You know, but even you, if I was to jump in the car, drive down there, grab the defibrillator and bring it back, then I could do that in less than 5 minutes. And your chances of survival goes to between 50 and 70%. If it's 3 minutes, it's 50. If it's 5 minutes, it's 70. If it's 5 minutes, so after 5 minutes, you've 5 times the chance of survival. I was stunned.
Yeah, that is big. I never
stunned.
imagined those.
I've seen them around, and I've seen people raising funds to put them in places. I didn't realise just why it's so important. And what we've had as well around this part of Wales is there has been some tragic sudden loss of life with young people. Even you're playing sport, and what they've done is as a tribute to the person that's passed, they've raised funds and they've had these defibrillators put into schools and different places, which is fantastic.
Ed was saying he's been invited to the local community centre where they just installed a defibrillator for free training on Monday. Oh, that's brilliant, Ed. What a wonderful thing to do.
And what timing. And now you can go there armed with the knowledge that if ever you knew how to use it and you were able to, you could be giving somebody 8 times the chance of survival than if you weren't there, which I think is a massive... No wonder they're doing it. That is so life-changing. And if you save somebody from cardiac arrest within that period of time, then they can go on to make a full recovery, which is amazing.
Anne said an AED saved the life of my friend's sister. Amazing, isn't it? And Ribble Finds and Crafts, we have one 100 feet from the front door on the club next door. I can't see us. Like a heart over. No, you
next
click
to
the
us,
little
yeah.
thingy, and I can't quite read the last word, but S, I think it is. Oh,
Unite-
well, that's not far at all.
The United States is leading on getting these around.
Is
because
it?
I when I was doing my research, I think they said 60% of all of these units in the world are in America.
Right.
They've-
The Glenda
they've
saying
really
it's
gone
part of
for it.
every first aid class in the USA.
Yeah, it's really, they've had a big drive in America,
Hmm.
and they've got, I think it was 60% of the world's machines are in the States.
Right,
I better tell the people who did
Yes,
win
yes, who
that
did?
they won, because we're looking for a C, and we've got to look for a while, because most people thought it wasn't going to be that high, and I understand why. So what are we going to do? We're going to go down to, I hope I got this right, Rita Malberg.
Well done, Rita.
Then we got to carry on down a bit. Let's have a look here. Ooh. Liz Warren
Well done, Liz.
and Jeannie Nash.
Well done, Jeannie.
There we go. So it's
Congratulations.
Rita, Liz and Jeannie. And then we've got Christina and Glenda and Faraway Portal and Jason all got it in a run at the end. There we go. They came in at the end. But there we go.
So D.
Well
Dorothy
done.
Papagno said, can you buy personal units that I don't know? And Faraway Portal wonders if you could use a car battery in an emergency. You'd have to be very careful, wouldn't you? Slightly too much, and they
Yeah.
would never come back. But it's a good theory, 'cause it's the same sort of
worth
principle.
checking out.
But I don't know. I think, you know,
Depends. You
I
got to get
certainly
the
would
right.
recommend it. Put
No,
it
you've
that
got
way.
to have the right current. But it is good that we're starting to see these things. As I say, we walk into town and we pass. We're on the way down. When we were filming in Caerphilly, we were doing the opposite the castle. We filmed Tommy Cooper's statue. As we turned, there was one on the wall there, and a lot of them have got plaques on where the funds have been raised by local people in order to buy them and position them. But I did not know just what a dramatic difference it can make for a person's chances of survival. That was quite
No,
phenomenal.
I've got something in my mind. And you know what my
Have you?
memory's like. Yeah, from
I
years
can't
ago, I
believe
think it
that.
might be
I
our
don't
friend
think it's
John,
been
who
you.
had a heart attack, and they worked on him and they couldn't do anything. And they were about to give up on him, and the ambulance man just lost his temper. He kicked him really hard in the chest, and he stopped his heart again. But he was just like, I don't want to leave this person dead. And it did actually, and they had a couple of years. But I think it was John, but I can't remember. Might
Not
not have
sure.
been. Somebody we know anyway. That happened
Because,
to, and that's like,
well,
whoa,
they were saying in this article that, of course, CPR is the thing that was tremendously relied on previously, but then you need somebody there who is trained and able to do it. Whereas with these units, better you're trained, but they have got written instructions on them.
Yeah, somebody was saying it won't start. I can't see where it is now. They won't start. That's right, Mike. The nice thing is they will not activate unless it's needed, because they take the readings, don't they? Before they wouldn't just shock anyone. Otherwise, you could do it to your enemy, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So it's,
They're very well designed that people can do it, because if you've got somebody there that can do CPR, then that is life changing as well. But
yeah.
This machine means anybody who's literate and confident can just take it, read it, use it, and do exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah, which is good.
And of course, the other thing is a big advantage why the rate of survival has gone up in the UK is because we used to have always ambulances, but then they started doing the paramedics in cars, and they are equipped with all these things, and they can get there a lot faster.
Yeah.
So they'll get a paramedic to you if they got a heart attack. We lost our neighbour up the street, but they had a catastrophic heart attack. But when we came into the street, 2 paramedics had got you before the ambulance, because they rushed to the spot, because it's all down to this minutes of time. If you can get there in 5 minutes, you can make all the difference in the world, which I think is fantastic.
Let's have a look.
I think that
from-
question goes down as happy news.
It does. I want to talk to Lexi a minute. Lexi, there's all this talk about you go to Iceland, and I'd seen a little bit of chat about you going to Iceland before, but you're going on a cruise to Iceland. Wow. You're saying about going on a boat and whale watching and going to look at the icebergs. Is it a cruise? Not that I'd be even vaguely jealous.
No, not at all. Right then.
Well, wait a minute. No, Lexi's allowed 23 kilograms of hold luggage, so no, she must be flying then, I'll assume.
And then going on a cruise with
No,
together.
it could be, yeah.
Going on a boat. Right, do you want another question?
Yeah, I think we'll get the monkey question now.
Monkey question. Now I'm expecting contention tonight. Things have been fairly calm for weeks, but I've got a feeling it could get out of control. Here we go, folks. How many times did Mankey appear in this week's video? Was it A, 4, B, 5 or C, 6?
Go. Right, so Lexi is flying to Iceland 4 days in Reykjavik. Sounds lovely. Our son and daughter-in-law went to Iceland and they absolutely loved it. They said if they could go anywhere in the world, they'd probably like to settle in Iceland. It was so nice. So I expect you're going to have a wonderful time. We flew over Greenland. It wasn't over Iceland. It was because I always remember looking on, or I heard in geography or something, and Iceland has got a lot of green other than in the winter, but Greenland has got a lot of ice. And we flew over Greenland on the way to Las Vegas, and you could see we were so high up, all the icebergs floating in the water looked like little ice cubes in a drink. They were so small. I thought that was amazing. Everybody rushed over to the one side of the plane to look. I swear it went like that. We were all over the one side. The pilot was probably going, this plane's banking a bit. Right, do we have a winner?
Just having a look now. Just checking Ribble Finds what they've said here, because they are our referee often. So they've got at 110 on the fence. That was by the Hollybush, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then they've got behind Phil on the door.
Yeah.
Then they've got behind Phil in the amphitheatre.
Yeah.
Then they've got overlooking the amphitheatre.
Yeah.
And then behind Phil again in the amphitheatre.
But there was a mystery spotting, which we're not going to count in these numbers because it was so difficult. But there is.
Well, I don't know, because
it was in the by the plaque, wasn't it? When I panned around the churchyard, and Phil was walking, and you could just see a little tiny bit of Mankey's head sticking out of Phil's pocket for a very,
his head was sticking out.
You could see the white just for a very short.
Yeah, his head was sticking
tiny.
out. He had his head out of my pocket. As I walked, as Caroline panned round and I walked across, Mankey's head was sticking out of the pocket.
So there's an extra one this week.
Yes, so now, I think...
But we're not going to count that one because it was so fleeting. I had to go back, stretch the picture and run through very slowly on my editing software to try and see it.
I tell you what, if we're going to go with the official 5, then Colin Scott got the gold.
Right.
Ribble Finds got the silver. And Rachel Bailey got the bronze.
Right, well done, but it's okay. So we need to consider 6 then, don't we?
Yes, we've got 3 people who said 6.
So
which means we're going to give...
6 really has to win it, doesn't it?
Well, we're going to give the prize to both. We're going to give 2 podium places because we'll go with the official 5.
Right.
But for the Eagle Eyes, might be a lucky guess.
It could
But
be.
we'll award them as Eagle Eyes. The Eagle Eye Award, gold goes to Jeannie Nash.
Well done, Jeannie.
Jason.
Well done, Jason.
And Anne Goodwin.
Well done, Anne.
The only 3 with 6s, so I could not give it to her when
yes,
I
you
know
definitely need a podium
there
as well.
was Mankey's head in my pocket of my long coat.
It was tiny.
As I turned to walk, Caroline panned that way and his head was looking out of the pocket. So there we go. That's the way it called. And that's our 10 o'clock. It's all over, dear.
Yes, it is. So thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been great fun. I love watching what's going on in the chat. And I'll see you all next time. Or we'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
They got it.